Austin, Texas. I've been talking to a bunch of the fun-loving freedom fighters of Texas lately, and we all agree there's one thing we need to pass on to all of y'all from a few of us before I take a leave from these pages. You see, I'm taking a leave of absence on account of I have to write a book, and time has become both scant and precious. The thing is this. You got to have fun while you're fighting for freedom, because you don't always win. Having fun while freedom fighting must be one of those lunatic Texas traits we get from the water, which is known to have lithium in it. Because it goes all the way back to Sam Houston, surely the most lovable, the most human, and the funniest of all the great men this country has ever produced. While Sam was president of the Republic of Texas, he was visited by a French ambassador. This frog was quite the wonder of frontier Austin. He minced along the wooden sidewalks, wearing a silk suit with lace at the collar and cuffs with a gilt épée, no less, slung along his side. Though Sam had a perfectly good, fine house, he elected to receive the Frenchman in a log hut with mud on the floor. By choice of sometime Indian, Sam wore only fringed leggings and a blanket around his big old hairy chest. While the French ambassador held forth grandiloquently, Houston, who was himself a magnificent orator, replied only with an occasional, ugh. Our Texas freedom fighters have been prone to misbehavior ever since. A recent Ku Klux Klan rally in Austin produced an eccentric counter-demonstration. When the 50 Klansmen appeared, they were bussed in from Waco, in front of the state capitol. They were greeted by 5,000 locals who had turned out for a Moon the Klan rally. Citizens dropped trowel both singly and in groups, occasionally producing a really splendid wave effect. It was a swell day. But I reckon the man who taught most of us how to have fun while fighting for freedom was John Henry Falk, who went and died on us a few years back. Despite getting blacklisted during the McCarthy era and having a number of other misadventures during his life, Johnny never lost his sense of mischief, and to the end of his days, he could be counted on to hatch some elaborate practical joke to bedevil whichever do-badder had most recently and most egregiously harmed the cause of liberty and justice for all. Johnny used to tell a story about when he was a Texas Ranger, a captain, in fact. He was 7 at the time. His friend Boots Cooper, who was 6, was sheriff, and the two of them used to do a lot of heavy law enforcement out behind the Falk place south of Austin. One day, Johnny's mama, having 2 such fine officers on the place, asked them to go down to the hen house and root out the chicken snake that had been doing some damage there. So Johnny and Boots loped down to the hen house on their trusty brooms, which they tethered outside, and commenced to search for the snake. They went all through the nests on the bottom shelf of the hen house and couldn't find it, so then both of them stood on tippy toes to look on the top shelf. Now, I myself have never been nose to nose with a chicken snake, but I always took Johnny's word for it that it will scare the living shit out of you. Scared those boys so bad that they both tried to exit the hen house at the same time, doing considerable damage to both themselves and the door. Johnny's mama, Miss Falk, was a kindly lady, but watching all this, it struck her funny. She was still laughing when the captain and the sheriff trailed back up to the front porch. Boys, said Miss Falk, what's wrong with you? You know perfectly well that a chicken snake can't hurt you. And that's when Boots Cooper made his semi-immortal observation. Yes, ma'am, he said, but there's some things will scare you so bad, you hurt yourself. And isn't that what we keep doing in this country over and over again? We get scared so bad about the communist menace or illegal immigration or AIDS or pornography or violent crime, some damn scary thing, that we hurt ourselves. We take the odd notion that the only way to protect ourselves is to give up some of our freedom. Just trim a little, hedge a bit, and we'll all be safe after all. Those who think of freedom in this country as one long, broad path leading ever onward and upward are dead damned wrong. Many a time freedom has been rolled back, and always for the same sorry reason, fear. So one thing I've learned from Johnny Falk, Texas, and life is that since you don't always win, you've got to learn to enjoy just fighting the good fight. On the occasion of the bicentennial of the Constitution, the ACLU was fixing to lay some heavy lifetime freedom fighter awards on various citizens, and one of them was Joe Raw, the lawyer who defended so many folks during the McCarthy era and the Civil Rights Movement. Note that the rightness of those stands is always easier to see in retrospect. Ron was sick in the hospital at the time and asked a friend of his to go down and collect the award for him. His friend went to see him in the hospital and said, "Joe, what do you want me to tell all those folks?" So there was Ron, lying there sick as a dog, thinking back on all those bad, ugly, angry times, the destroyed careers, the wrecked lives, and he said, "Tell them how much fun it was. Tell them how much fun it was." So keep fighting for freedom and justice, beloveds, but don't you forget to have fun doing it. Lord, let your laughter ring forth. Be outrageous. Ridicule the fraidy cats. Rejoice in all the oddities that freedom can produce. And when you get through kicking ass and celebrating the sheer joy of a good fight, be sure to tell those who come after how much fun it was. So Kelly, thank you for always making it so much fun for all of us.